Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's start today's reading, and we are continuing from the action steps. Let me quickly revise the previous part. So we are currently at part 2, and we are understanding what is the main problem that most are facing and how we can resolve that. So we understood how dopamine is known as molecule of more and triggers the action mode in us. So molecule of more, when we say molecule of more, it doesn't matter like whether the more is towards the good or towards the bad. And as a result, they need stronger and stronger stimulus to experience the same sensation of pleasure. That means it's just like a drug, and the drug addict after a few days won't feel that much of punch how it was with less doses. So the more we trigger, the more they are trapped to they are trapped and they hanker for more. Then let's read today's part, that is action step. So one of you can take the initiative and start reading.
Yes, Vikashi, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
Action step. Using your action guide, write down a past situation when you could not stop doing something. Are there any activities you can't stay away from for one whole day? Write it down as well. Your dopamine neurotransmitters are being hijacked. Your focus is a scarce asset, which is why marketers spend billions of dollars to attract your attention. Many apps are designed to hook you. Social media companies like YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram know that the more time you spend on their platforms, the more money they make through advertising. Perhaps one of their greatest recent discoveries is the use of notifications. How many times have you opened an app just because a red notification pops up on your screen? And how much time did you waste subsequently? I would not be surprised if it ran into hundreds of hours each year. And thanks to ever more sophisticated algorithms, companies have become better at hooking us. Amazon's book recommendation system is more accurate and widespread than any system a physical bookstore could create. Likewise, YouTube suggestions are heavily customized, and Facebook's customer research algorithm is quite amazing too. As a demonstration, try the following experiment. Visit your news feed, watch a couple of suggested videos on a similar topic, and see what happens. The other day, I watched a basketball video and immediately received a recommendation to view another one. So I watched it, and then I watched another one, and so on. Now, the development of sophisticated algorithms has its pros and cons. On the plus side, it becomes easier to discover content you actually want to watch. On the negative side, it makes it easier to become stuck in a never ending loop, watching one video after the other. In a sense, instead of using the internet to find information or communicate with loved ones, the internet has become the one using you. It does so by hijacking your focus and making you unproductive and as a result, restless. Social media notifications are a great example of how your brain is being hijacked. Whenever you see a notification, you anticipate the reward you will receive when clicking on it, which triggers the release of dopamine in your brain. However, this does not make you happy or fulfill you, at least not for long. Remember, dopamine is not a pleasure chemical. It is a neurotransmitter that is activated when you anticipate a potential pleasure, and that pleasure is usually temporary. Below are some other ways your dopamine neurotransmitters are being hijacked. Whenever you check your email, you are expecting a reward, which could be a message from a friend or some exciting news. Number two, whenever you check stats such as investment portfolio or website traffic stats, you expect a reward from seeing encouraging numbers, and the unpredictability makes it more exciting. Third, whenever you visit YouTube, you expect to watch interesting or exciting videos. And whenever you visit social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you are anticipating rewards such as likes or comments on your posts, messages from friends, or interesting content. When you engage in any of the above activities, you risk becoming not only overstimulated but also distracted, and as a result, you will lose your ability to focus. Whoever has succeeded in staying away from the internet or social media for a few days understands what a waste of time and focus such activities can be. What about you? How do you allow your dopamine neurotransmitters to be hijacked?
Okay, so let me take over from here.
Ji.
So this is about we understood what are the main like activities by which our dopamine neurotransmitters are being hijacked. One way is checking the emails, checking the stats and status also, checking the YouTube videos and then following recommendations, scrolling through endlessly scrolling through social media. So what is the result? The result is we risk becoming not only overstimulated but also distracted. And also one more thing which is not mentioned, that is our attention span is becoming less and less and less. The recent study says that the attention span, the average attention span of the citizens have become so less that it is earlier it was in minutes, now it came to seconds. That is so pathetic thing actually. Then how we can ensure that we have more ability to focus and complete any task without much of distraction? So we need to understand the deeper consequences that we are attracting while doing any of these things unintentionally. Intentionally, if I decide that okay, this is the time from which time to which time I like to do this activity, I like to watch some videos for my knowledge gain, or likewise, that is fine. But if I cannot stop myself at that particular time and extending further, then that is a trap. That is where actually we need to understand that the trap is is going to be so acute that I would be ending up losing my focus, my willpower, my attention span, right? Many other things. Productivity also will be low, and the list is endless actually. So the author is asking, what about you? How do you allow your dopamine neurotransmitter to be hijacked? So is it the same way that author has explained or some other way. That is what author is asking. It is almost similar way. We fall in trap. Majority fall in trap in that way. So now let's see what else. Food craving. Hunting for food used to be one of our biggest drivers for action. Hunger alongside the anticipation of great reward. Food leads us to act. And the food that gives us the most pleasure was highly nourishing, tasty, and often contained sugar. This is the trap. It is actually not highly nourishing. I don't know to what context is the author is saying, because the food which contains sugar cannot be highly nourishing. It can be tasty for the temporary sensory
Maybe
acquisition.
he's referring to the fruits
Fruits,
in ancient times.
that is fructose, that is not exactly sugar.
Hmm.
Sugar is something like the white sugar generally being referred to, but let's see. Maybe afterwards he would be giving more light to it. According to Professor Susanne Klaas, a biologist at the German Institute of Human Nutrition in Ostrom, our craving for sweet food is innate. Sugar triggers the release of dopamine and makes us feel good. She wrote, experiments have shown that the combination of sugar and fat is especially effective in stimulating the brain reward brain's reward system. This I have also read in other places wherein actually they say that the glucose is required for the brain to remain in the action mode. Therefore, it is hardly surprising that we like to get our daily dose of sugar and fat, is it? It's hardly surprising that we like to get our daily dose of sugar and fat, is it? However, these days, most of us live in a different environment. Although we still need to feed ourselves, the feeling of anticipation um, that drove our ancestors to search for food has become irrelevant. We can simply visit our local supermarket and buy what we want. There is no need to exert much more effort. That is a trap actually. When we are making an effort and trying or doing physical activity, these sugars, whatever we take, doesn't matter much. But if we are getting it from the nearby supermarket without much effort, then what? How it will be digested or utilized properly? And for most of us, food is plentiful. Yet our biology has remained the same. We still experience that feeling of anticipation um, when being present with rich food. This is where the food industry comes in. In this industry, marketers spend millions to encourage us to buy their products. They discover that by adding sugar, among other things, they can not not only make the food more palatable, but they make us crave more. So by applying sugar, they are achieving this too. For this reason, if you look for at least at the list of ingredients contained in any processed food, you will find sugar in most of them. Let's be curious and see whether in the processed food the sugar element is there and what other chemicals are there. Few chemicals are also they are putting these days where which can actually induce the taste and craving element of us. That's more or less very dangerous and equivalent to drug. However, I should mention that while there is a debate on the actual addictive power of sugar, it is unlikely to be as addictive as cocaine, as you might have read in some online articles. It is unlikely addictive like cocaine. Robert Lustig, professor of pedi- pediatrics at the University of California, San Francisco, asserts that sugar is addictive, but on the same level of nicotine, not drugs like heroin. Sugar is addictive, but on this same level as nicotine. Nicotine is mostly used in cigarettes, but it is not dangerous higher like heroin. That's a more dangerous drug. As Dr. Giordano, a psychiatrist at the University of Cambridge, noted, the brain's reward system and the circuits that control eating behavior are the same ones that respond to drugs of abuse. It is one and the same. The brain reward system and the circuits that control eating behavior are the same. Okay, but unlike sugar, drugs of abuse seem to hijack those systems and turn off their normal controls. So what they do, they seem to hijack. Oh my God! So they are hijacking the system and turn off their normal controls. So that is why actually people who are taking this drugs, they they cannot actually control, and similar behavior in a lesser um, the magnitude of it might be little lesser, but the behavior is similar in terms of social media scrolling and all those kind of things. Furthermore, Tom Sanders, Emirates professor of nutrition and dietetics at King's College London, wrote, it is absurd to suggest that sugar is addictive like hard drugs. He also said, while it is true that liking for sweet things can be habit forming, it is not addictive. It is not addictive like opiates or cooking. This is like in India, it is called opium. Individuals do not get withdrawal symptoms when they cut sugar intake. But I have seen a few people get some withdrawal symptoms also. Though magnitude is not that high. It is actually because the willpower is getting smaller and smaller, or the lesser and lesser. So to conclude, humans seem to have a natural craving for sugar and fat. While we may not be addicted to them per se, it might be a good idea to reduce our intake and lower our dependence on them. It's a good idea to reduce our intake and lower our dependence on them, especially from sugar. Dopamine and constant stimulation can impair your ability to think long term. Okay, so we will continue from here. Dopamine and constant stimulation can impair our ability to think long term. How it is impacting our long term thinking and taking decision mechanism, that we will continue from either Monday or Tuesday. So I now keep the stage open for all of you to share at least one line what you think is the main takeaway for you from today's video.
Thank you, Bikaji, for beautiful reading today. This book is really the short one, very short, 51 or 52 pages, but it actually underlines what we were discussing for many months now. The first thing which I like about this, the second chapter, second part is about the craving. You know, the addiction, food addiction, actually, it increases your craving. So I completely agree with that. You may feel like after eating all those fats and sugar you will feel satisfied and all that, but that is not the case. It is all craving. Just a quick experience, yesterday or day before yesterday I went to the restaurant, and nowadays this is my common observation. I don't know whether you will also feel the same. Whenever I go to restaurant, the people are actually they are all settled, rich, secured and all that. But the way people nowadays eat in restaurant or do the parties in a restaurant, if you see them, if you observe them, it's actually a craving. It is addiction for the food. The amount of food they eat and all that is unproportionate. The way they eat is, like there is a tiger behind them. So
Mhm.
these are all the social observations which actually stated in this second chapter. It's really true that it is actually craving and it is not going to stop. So it's good that this chapter underlines that. And very first thing which we talk about the notification, yes, we have actually taken action. I think 6 or 3 4 months before that is to actually stop all the notifications. And after doing that only we'll realize that okay, how much time actually we are wasting on social media. And this thing, another observation I want to just mention here, just three of us. So whenever a notification come or whenever you read any message on WhatsApp or social media, just observe your breath. Okay, whenever the notification comes or message you read, it disturbs your breathing pattern. Means I have observed it. What happens is whenever I read any message, at that our breathing stops during that microsecond for a few seconds, and then once you get the message in, then it goes to normal. But it's not a good sign actually, getting that stimulation from all this notification. But I got a good release once I stop everything. Now I think we discussed Bikaji in detail all this, stopping, how to stop the notification, etc., and all that.
Yeah.
So there is no Instagram, there is no Twitter, nothing, no notification absolutely required. And life is really beautiful without that. And yes, it is actually manageable without notification, reading all these social media platforms. So really good chapter, because yes, we discussed this, but this again rereading all this, it underlines our thinking and it confirms that we are on the right path. That's why I love. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nandini, for sharing. Yes. As we have already taken the action, now we are reading the intricacies and how what is the
Yes.
science behind them. So it is even more meaningfully taking action, and
Yeah,
it will be long term also. So
yeah, yeah,
that's really good. And for me also, I have seen that from last 1 or 2 years, I have no active notification, no kind of
yeah,
sound notification, especially enabled in my phone, apart from one app, that is the reminder app. So the reminder
yeah,
app, I keep my notification on. That tip, one beep sound will come and it will stay in my screen. Till that time, I either do that activity or snooze it for little further time if I'm really busy in some other activities right away.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
one notification I have. And then second thing which I have is I have muted all the groups apart
Good.
from very, very important groups where actually which I mentor or kind of which I
Yeah,
feel that it is of a personal community. Like we have this landscape manifestation group.
yeah,
That communication is not silent group.
yeah,
And WhatsApp anyway will not give any notification sound for me, but certainly the notification comes and stays in my top of the notification bar. Only that is
yeah,
the only app which is a social media kind of social media. But I feel that is a time saver. I feel because if I don't have the notification for personal messages and the very choice group, then I end up going to the WhatsApp and checking all the messages, and I
yeah,
might actually spend little more time unnecessarily. So
yeah.
knowingly, I have taken this decision of keeping it active.
No, that awareness, what you just said, that awareness is also is actually the key. Once you understand that yes, you are wasting your time, then that is a good step to
Yeah.
to trace back. And another thing which I think I mentioned on our group, our main group, what I do, yeah, definitely throughout the day there are some family messages which I have to read. So whenever you touch the phone, which I do, whenever you touch the phone to see anything, whatever you want to see on a phone, once you touch the phone, that means you have to go into the what I do. I have the list of all the gratitude affirmations. So I have
Yeah.
to read at least two affirmations, which I now started putting into the main group as well.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
anyway you touch the phone, anyway you read the message, you know
Yes.
family
Yes.
message and all that.
Yeah.
Not always the family message are important and all that, but since you touch the phone, now you have to read those two gratitude affirmation, which I started posting on the group as well.
Yes.
So it is other way around. Just take the advantage of anyway you are doing it, so do it for the good in that way.
That's really a good idea, and I have suggested this also. because few people, what they say is like, they might be actually ending up checking the phone more often. But when I say that 10 gratitude affirmations throughout the day, anytime you need to write, they will say, oh, writing in the group actually is online activity, screen I have to on. So I told, okay, you don't write. Fine, I am fine. But if you're opening the phone for
Yeah,
some similar kind of activity, then
yeah,
only you write. Then
yeah.
automatically you are doing a good thing, right? And your accomplishments are also kind of
But I'm
tracking
at
it.
least, but in that case, if I'm not writing, at least I'm reading the affirmations which is written by
Yeah,
others in a,
right.
that
Yes,
also helps. That also helps.
exactly.
Yeah,
So either
because the whole,
we write or
you
read.
the
Reading is
idea,
also equally important. Yeah.
exactly the whole idea of this. What happens means what observation last 1.5 year which we are doing here. What happens is that when you put this is kind of seeds. If you put the gratitude affirmation, hourly basis, just slowly, slowly, slowly it builds up. And at the end of the you feel that yes, your office work is done, this thing is done, all things are taken, but I spend my whole day in a gratitude affirmation, in a gratitude, which is really satisfying feeling, which I really love,
Yes.
in that way. Yeah, yeah.
And
Otherwise, if you
unknowingly
take
we
that
are.
as a work, then
Yeah.
it is a problem. If
Yes.
you take as a work that someone asks you to put that and it is kind of work or tedious job, then you will feel
Uh,
bored. But this is
yeah.
the other way around. This is the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah,
So initially, for few, it might be kind of they need to push themselves to go beyond their limits. But as and when we do it, and we are also not only doing the affirmation, not only the gratitude affirmation, but also we are linking that with mindset, warrior mindset, and divine qualities, and then the many accomplishments throughout the day that we are planning. So it's going to be satisfying, as well as it will generate the emotion. The emotions get stronger. The emotion of gratefulness, the gratitude emotions, and the sense of accomplishment, they are the good means of inducing the dopamine, I would say.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we will discuss further on that in the next session. I have a meeting now, so
Yeah, okay,
good.
no problem.
Yeah,
But good
we did.
discussion. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good. Thanks for the
Thank you.
participation
Thank you
and
very
looking
much.
forward.